to start off by briefly introducing yourself as an influencer, first and foremost?
Yeah, so I have been an influencer since 2017, I think.
Okay.
Sorry, my breath because I've just run up the stairs.
That's okay.
So 2017, I started on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So back then, it was like a whole different ball game, and it was very much like mummy bloggers.
Okay.
How I started and gained a big following really quickly. I had a few posts that went like mega viral. And then I thought, I really enjoy this. Then I had like a hiatus from 2018 actually. So I'd only been doing it a year, and then I was like, my dad died, so I sort of came off social media for a bit.
Okay.
And then I reappeared on Instagram. And it went from there, really. I think it was more like people... I had obviously built a following anyway. I wrote a book, and then I sort of went off grid. And then I came back, and people sort of naturally were being influenced, if that makes sense. So they'd be, people sort of ask you questions like, how do you do your hair? Or where have you bought this from? Like that. And my sort of style has always been a bit more sort of quirky and like very much sort of thrifty, like charity shops, Depop and Vinted, that sort of thing. So always been a huge champion of those. And it's only recently that I've started doing like more chatty things like to camera, because I hated doing it.
Okay. Oh, really?
Absolutely. I hate the sound of my own voice.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm such a talker. So I started off as more of a writer, and then it was like just photos, and now I've sort of gone into the world of video, which is how social media is changing anyway. And then sort of as a side, I became a social media manager, which really made my like knowledge about how to be an influencer. So that's been really helpful. And you know what? I just enjoy it. I think I don't take it very seriously.
I think that's the best way to be, though, to be fair.
That's it. It's like I don't actively want to be an influencer, but I obviously enjoy it because it's great going for experiences, and it's great to connect with people and things like that. But I like the more real side of it. Like, yeah, it's great to get free things and help promote people and their businesses. But I'm quite business minded anyway, so I love like promoting businesses from behind the scenes as well as just sharing like that. Sorry, I've got a cold. That's
okay. It's that time of year.
I'm getting over it. So that's pretty much how I started. It sort of started on an off chance. It was just a couple of silly posts that I'd written, and then it snowballed from there. And now I've got like a really committed following, which is brilliant.
So you started on Facebook then took a bit of time off, and then returned on Instagram after you wrote a book.
Yeah. So
yes. Okay. Cool.
Wrote the book. Disappeared for a bit, which is awful for marketing. But then I came back on Instagram and have like settled well on Instagram now. So on Facebook, I actually had a following of 45,000.
Oh wow! Okay.
That was within a year, so it was really good. And then I just turned my back on it, which was definitely the right thing for me to do at the time.
Yeah.
Came back on Instagram. My Instagram followings now, I just seem to be stuck at 10,000. I can't.
Oh really? Does that seem to be the marker?
So annoying. Sometimes like it'll grow a little bit, and then I'll sort of lose some, and it's like it's so
it's weird how it works, isn't it? It does seem to be like that sometimes.
Exactly. It's mad. Where are you from? I can hear northern in your voice.
Lincoln. I'm from Lincoln.
What
about you?
So I am from all over. So I grew up in Yorkshire.
Oh, okay. So did my mum, actually.
Really? Whereabouts?
Oh, couldn't tell you.
No, I say that really well.
Yeah.
I've been like 8 when I lived there.
And then her parents are Scottish as well, so lots of up north.
Wow, so she must have a funny mix of an accent then, really.
Weirdly, she just sounds like me. Somehow.
Oh, I think northern.
Yeah, I know. I think it's because she spent most of her life in Lincoln, so yeah.
Oh, bless her. Yeah, so I started off in Cheltenham in the Midlands, and then moved to Yorkshire. Grew up in Yorkshire, then we moved back to the Midlands, to the Cotswolds, And then I spent a little bit of time in London in my teens. And then I moved to Cornwall for 10 years.
Oh, wow. Oh, I love Cornwall.
Now I've been to Sussex, so
beautiful place, yeah.
All the different aspects of the map.
Absolutely, yeah. Is there anywhere you haven't tried living in?
Well, I'd like to get back up eventually.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm just easy. It just depends whatever goes.
Yeah.
The whole is my home now.
People do say that about my accent, and I'm like, to me, I don't have an accent. You know, when you get that used to it.
I don't hear an accent in myself. People do. My partner Bear, he says that he hears. There's a couple of words that I say that are really northerny.
Oh, okay.
And words that I say that are really posh, and like it just varies,
a little mix, really. Yeah.
Someone said to me I had a bit of Birmingham accent, and I was so offended.
Oh no!
Outrageous!
Insulting.
Absolutely.
So what is your niche as an influencer then? Did you say you sort of started off with the sort of motherhood parenting side? Is that still what you tend to do now?
So it's really hard to say because I don't fit the mould for the mummy blogger.
Okay.
I don't fit the fashion blogger and things like that. But I definitely would say like the reoccurring like undercurrent of everything that out is always like brutal honesty, and like there's always been a level of confidence to what I'm saying, so it's more about that. It's more about being real, you know what I mean? Which it seems so backwards that it was because you can't be a real influencer.
I think people appreciate that though when you're real, you know, and I think people find comfort in it almost, do you know what I mean? Instead of them thinking, oh, you know, influencers all have the perfect life, because often people just post the good, don't they? So it's nice, I think, when people also post the other things as well, because that is life, isn't it?
Exactly. And that's what I think has done me so well is I don't share obviously every single aspect of my life, but I do share the ups and the downs, and I've never been that person who's like, look at my picture perfect home. I'm like, look at
yeah. Yeah.
That. So it's more about like that, having that realness to it.
Yeah, for sure. So niche wise then you would say, you know, parenting, but the real side of parenting really.
Yeah, so it's like the real, I would say more it's like the real side of womanhood.
Okay.
I've only got one kid, so I'm definitely not an expert on parenting. Angel. So it's like I've always sort of shared like womanhood, basically.
Kind of lifestyle of a woman. Absolutely. Kind of, yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So what platforms are you active on, even though you've already touched on this? Which is your favourite and why? So you said Facebook and Instagram mainly.
So I still have my Facebook page, but I don't touch it anymore.
You don't use that now?
No one cares about Facebook.
Yeah, it has died a little bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's so boring. I am really active on Instagram, and I'm just starting to get into the fold of TikTok. So,
yes, that usually follows Instagram, doesn't it, at the moment?
Love TikTok.
It's so much fun.
I waste so much time on TikTok. It is brilliant.
Yes, honestly, scrolling for hours, but we love it.
Yeah, I live the whole day to it.
So which is your favourite then out of Instagram and TikTok to use as as a creator more than as a user?
Instagram's definitely my favourite.
Yeah.
I think I've built a following on there. I've had it for a few years, and yeah, I just enjoy it more. I enjoy TikTok more as a user.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I think there's a bit more to do as a content creator on Instagram, isn't there, as opposed to TikTok? Like all you can really do on TikTok is make those videos, whereas Instagram, you know, you can do photos, videos, stories is another one, reels, lives. I'm pretty sure.
And you can message more. There's comments and things like that, and I just find it more sort of user friendly in that way.
Yeah, definitely. So, how long have you been an influencer for then? How long would you class yourself as having been an influencer for?
Definitely since 2017. I'm shit at math, so yeah, that was
6 years ago. Yes, that's it.
Yeah, about 6 years.
So quite a while then.
Yeah, I think the thing is like influence has only really become a term sort of the last 3 years.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah.
So without realising, I've been an influencer for a long time.
Yeah. Same with the social media manager, isn't it? Like, obviously that's my job, and you said you do that as well. Like, that wasn't a job back when, like, I was in school and stuff, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. That wasn't even an option. And yet now it's like there's a huge call for it.
Exactly, and it is a popular job, although it's still so misunderstood, sorry.
Yes. A bit like influencing. I think people think anything to do with social media is easy, it's not very time consuming, and yet it actually is. Like, you know, making posts takes a lot of time.
Good posts, definitely.
Yes.
I mean, I can make shit posts all day long.
Oh, yeah. That is very true. That goes against our core, though, as social media managers, doesn't it?
It hurts me.
Yeah, can't do that. So how did you become an influencer within your niche then? So in 2017, when you started your Facebook, what sort of spurred you on to start sharing your life online, really? What made you want to do that in the first place?
So I was actually part of a like online mum group.
Okay.
You know, like people meet up and then they do a mum group. This was like just a one. And all of our babies were going to be due in the same month, which is how we'd... a friend of mine had invited me to the group because our babies were due at the same time. And I was writing, obviously privately in this group, I was writing these like silly posts and like just... It was like it's like basically like a comedy take on whatever was going on, like whether we were pregnant or just had the babies or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There was about 100 odd women in the group, and they were all saying, you need to put this online, you need to put this online. And I was like, no, it's just silly. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, one of them said, I actually earn money from my blog. She said, you know, it's like a part-time wage that I earn. It's taken me 7 years to build it up to that. And I thought, do you know what? Why not? Like, if I could earn a bit of money on the side, then that would be great. And if not, it doesn't matter. It's just funny.
Yeah, and if you're already enjoying putting it in the group, then, you know, and there was a chance to earn money from it, putting it publicly, then, you know, you may as well try.
That was exactly it. And I thought, and do you know what? Some of the stuff I was writing was so sort of on point, and I just thought, you know, other mums would enjoy this.
Yeah, deserves to be seen.
Exactly. Well, that was it. That's what they were all saying. So I was like, do you know, I haven't got anything to lose. So I started my Facebook page. I put a couple of posts up, and then I think the third one went viral. And so mad. So the friend that had said, I earn a bit of money, she said she's got, I think it was 6,000 followers on her blog. And she said, you know, it's taken me years and years to build those up. And I started with about 200 followers. I made everybody that I know follow me, and then obviously all the mums in the group. And I went from 200 followers to 3,000 literally overnight.
Wow. I was going to say, your third post ever going viral is quite quick, isn't it?
Absolutely bonkers. And then I don't know how, I just seemed to have the recipe for it. Like, I wasn't really actively trying to go viral. I was just writing what I thought, and the funnier that I thought it was, then I would put it on.
I think that's the best way, though, isn't it? You know, you're doing it because you want to, not because you want to go viral. And then they're the ones that actually end up going viral often.
That's what I found, that the minute that you're trying, because I did write a couple of posts, and I was like, this is really funny, and then I get like 100 likes, and I was like... But then I wrote another post, and it went like mega viral. And I was on the news. I was in every single news like article, news outlet, and so, like featured on ITV, everything.
Oh my god!
And it just ran. It just went. And I think at the time, so this was obviously years ago, I think 4 million people had read it.
Wow!
And it going up and up and up. I mean, it's obviously more now. But then I was noticing, so I was, you know, walking around in Cornwall or wherever I was, people started being like, oh my god, you wrote that post about motherhood, blah blah blah, and I was like,
start getting spotted.
Yeah, and what's mad is my face isn't even in the post.
Yeah,
it's just my leg. It's actually a picture of me shaving my leg, and my little girl was in the shower, and the joke of the post is nobody tells you when you're a mum that you never have any time alone, and like hear it, but you don't believe it until you're in the shower shaving and your kid has to be there. Like,
okay.
That joke of the post, and so then from then, I think it grew to sort of 10,000 followers, then 20, then 30, then 40, and it was honestly madness.
You don't believe it, do you? Like, is this really happening?
I did a radio interview about one of my posts, and they said, like, oh, has it changed your life? And I said, but it hasn't. I'm just sat here doing this interview. I'm sat in my pants.
Yeah, like I've never changed anything. It just happened.
And then that quote obviously went right. It's just so off the cuff, and it was like I'm just a normal person sat in my pants, just doing
this.
So yeah, it was just crazy. So that's how it started. It was basically I was saying this stuff anyway, and then those mums said you need to make this public, and then that's what I did, and then I've literally not looked back since.
Wow, it's crazy, isn't it? How it comes about. It's a good job they told you to.
I think, God, I wonder where I'd be now if I hadn't.
Yeah, you don't want to think though, do you? You're like, oh God, no.
My life would be different.
So, what is the secret to your success as an influencer then? If you had to choose one thing, what do you reckon?
I think it's definitely being myself. Yeah, so I think it's literally just being myself, basically, and not being afraid to be myself. And I think I do say this to everyone. It's like when you start a business, people are like, oh, I want to be like this person, I want to be like that person. And I realised I don't want to be that. I don't want, especially for me, I think being a parent, I was seeing the mummy bloggers like that were out there, and they were living this, like, sorry, I'm out of breath.
That's all right.
They were living this unattainable life, and it was making me feel like I'm a failure if I'm not living that life.
But in reality, they probably weren't like that all the time. That was just what they were posting.
No, they're really not. And I've realised that now. But obviously at the time, it was a totally different time back then to how it is now.
But even now, I do it. It's easy to look at someone's Instagram or whatever and think that see that as their life. Like, even though you know better, it's still when you're scrolling, your head's thinking something else, isn't it? So it's really easy to fall into.
You see their once in a blue moon highlights and think that they like that, and it's like that's not how it was. But that was when I realised I don't want to be like, I don't want to make people feel bad. I want people to see me being a good mum and a good wife and everything else, and realise that does mean that I swear and that I don't do the cooking on time and I don't bathe my child every night, because you don't need to do any of that shit.
Yeah.
And people really enjoy that because everybody thinks it's not rocket science, it's not anything new, but it's new for somebody to be outwardly saying it and not be trying to fit in.
Yeah.
So that's definitely the sort of secret to it.
Yeah, and I think sometimes you get like that competitiveness, don't you, on social media with, especially in certain niches, trying to be the best at something. And, I guess you're there to kind of remind people, you don't have to be. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're a good mother. No, you don't have to be the best. You don't have to have it all figured out.
You don't have to have the best of everything. You don't need these products to be the best mum. You don't need any of that. You just need to love your kid and do your best. And your best can be 1% sometimes, or it can be 100.
Yes.
It's not going to be every single day. Every single day is different. So
exactly.
That.
Just same with everything though, isn't it? Like, no day's different, whatever you do. Like, it's impossible.
You just can't achieve it. It's unattainable, and it's wrong for people to pretend that it is attainable. And I think that's the difference is, sometimes my life's great and interesting. I get to do amazing experiences, and I do live an absolutely full life. But I also sit there and think, oh God, I'm so ugly, or oh God, I feel like I haven't got any friends, or stuff like that. And it's like, I just
all the normal thoughts.
Absolutely. And I totally embrace it. I'm like, I'm just being a tit.
Yeah, absolutely. So being real and relatable, definitely the secret there, I reckon.
Absolutely, 100%.
So what are your current goals as an influencer then? Is there anything you're striving towards at the moment?
I would love to build my following more. I really need to focus on it, and I just never get around to it. Got another book that is due to come out in the new year, and obviously I want that to sell as well as the first one did, obviously.
Of course, I'm sure it will.
I'm hoping it'll be better. It's definitely a better book, and I'm not planning on any random hiatuses or parents dying.
Yes. What are your books about then? What do you write about?
So my first bit's not about motherhood at all. Sort of as a sideline. So when I moved to Cornwall, I did it on a complete whim. Me and my ex-husband, we were working, and we were in the Midlands, and I was so upset. I was like, I hate my life. I feel like I'm in the rat race. I'm sick of it. I feel like everybody's trying to one-up each other, and I just don't want to be here anymore. And so we basically like committed town suicide and moved, and just literally left that night, went to Cornwall and started building a life there. But we obviously, I mean, I was 20 when that happened.
Oh, wow.
I'm 31 now. And it obviously the wheels came off very quickly.
Yes.
It's not a piece. No money, you can't get a job. If you haven't got a job, you can't get a house. If you haven't got a house, you can't bank, except that sort of cycle we got stuck into. But at the time, I'd kept a diary, and the first book is basically the published diary of how we did through. And it's more sort of about, like, it's called Ever the Optimist, and it's about keeping that like unwavering optimism and also the kindness of strangers, and like how we would meet people sort of on the journey, and they were either really, really nice to us or really horrible to us. And it was like, it's basically about human nature in that sort of sense. And then the second book is about grief, obviously.
Nice and light-hearted.
I always have a lovely light-hearted subject. So it's about a year of grief and how to get through it, and also it's a mashup of my dad's diary. So my dad kept a diary.
Oh, wow.
So people can get to know him and get to know, you know, it's sort, because when you hear about somebody else's grief, you don't really know the person, so you can't really, especially if you've not grieved yourself. And it sort of builds you up to get to know him, and then obviously he dies at the end, spoiler alert. And it's how I sort of dealt with it and got through it, and how it changed my perspective on death and grief and everything else. So
I think things like that as well, again, a bit like the realness on social media, people really like that because often, you know, they're all things that other people also go through. And, you know, if someone's struggling with grief, then your book, you know, is probably a massive comfort to them.
I hope so. That's why I think the second book's going to be better, because the first one's something that's not really going to happen to many people. But the second book...
Still entertaining, though.
Yeah, it is brilliant. If I say so. The second book, like, every single person on this planet is going to grieve somebody at some time. And if you think it's not going to happen to you, then you are wrong-o. It will. And if you have the tools to help you get through it, if you read about it and if you know about it instead of avoiding it, it will make it easier for you to get through it.
Yeah, so definitely.
It's so key for people to know.
Do you think having a book, you know, kind of helped you grow your following? Do you think that contributed to more people finding you on social media, already having that book there? Or do you think that they're sort of two separate entities?
I think it's hard to say. I think having a following helped sell the book for sure. And I wouldn't say that it grew my following by any means. I would say, you know, probably a handful of people found me through the book first.
Yeah.
I think most follow me and then they want to know more, and they want to hear more and read more and that sort of thing.
So there might have been a connection there somewhere, but it's hard to know how much of it.
Yeah, honestly, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So where do you see yourself as an influencer in 5 years' time then from now? I hate it when people ask me that question because I'm like, 5 years ago, I would have never known. So it's really difficult. But
like we said, you know, like our jobs, our like chosen career didn't exist 5 years ago.
Exactly.
I would love to break out into something new. I would love to do sort of full-time videos. I would love to break out onto YouTube. We do sort of have plans in place for a YouTube channel, but Exciting. It's not going to be anything about what I'm doing now. It's about, we want to open a campsite next year.
Oh, wow. Okay. Lots going on.
So me and my partner are going to open a campsite, and we want to obviously film the build and everything else and sort of the day-to-day and stuff like that. So I think from what I know from my journey so far, I realised that the only way to get any opportunity is to be totally open to anything. And
absolutely,
that's how I feel now. It's like I say yes to absolutely everything. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll just see what happens, because you just never.
You only live once.
Yeah, absolutely. If someone said to me, "We're going to watch paint dry later, do you want to come?" I'd be like, "I'm there."
Yeah, because something interesting might happen at the time. You never know unless you're there.
don't know who you'll meet. You don't know if you say yes, somebody might see you, or you might see somebody. It's just, honestly, the world is just so like that. And like every opportunity that I've had that's been brilliant has been from me saying yes to something else.
That is a great mindset to have, I think. You're going to have a much more entertaining life if you do that, I reckon.
I 100% agree. I just literally, I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah.
And if it goes wrong, if it's rubbish, then you just learn from it. So
and you just don't do it again, do you?
Exactly. It's a win-win. You can't go wrong.
Exactly. I love that. So what is your dream brand to work with then as an influencer?
Oh, God. That's so hard.
It is, because there's so many, isn't there? Do you work with brands at the moment?
I've worked with a few.
Okay.
So it really, when I work with people, it sort of filters into like a few categories. There's things that I do for sort of small businesses I'm not really that interested in, but they might have a product that I sort of like. I definitely wouldn't probably buy it myself. And they offer it to you and you're like, yeah, do you know what, I'll try it. And then there's things that you want. So it's like something that you were going to buy anyway, and then the brand gets in contact with you and you're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I've been wanting this one.
Exactly. So, God, I'm just trying to think, because I have actually worked with some really brilliant brands and stuff. It's hard to say. I think my favourite things to do, without doubt, are experiences. This year, not last year. This year, I got to go to some really great festivals. We went to Shindig Festival as a brand thing, and Tunes in the Park, which is a local one to Cornwall. This year coming, they've got three of my favourite bands. Sorry, so they've got Paloma Faith, Busted, and McFly. And I
oh wow, all at the same festival.
Yes,
wow, perfect.
Now, I've seen McFly live. I saw them at the Eden Project. I've worked with the Eden Projects as well, so like experiences are always more important to me.
Experiences over products, then. So more like events, influencer brand events.
They are without a doubt way more exciting than a brand name. If that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
I find it really icky as well, and it's like, oh, I love this code so much. It's really
especially when like that's all an influencer post is like ads, and it just puts you off following them, doesn't it?
No, I'm absolutely not into that. Whereas when I follow people and they go and do something and it's interesting,
makes for better content as well.
It's more interesting. It's like, I didn't know that existed, or I didn't know to do that there, or whatever. And it's like way more interesting content, and it's realer. Is that word? More realistic.
I know what you mean. Yeah, it's a word now.
More realistic, and it's like I have learned about great days out from influencers, and I like being that person as well. Like, I'll say to someone, oh, if you do this, and then if you ask for this, or if you see this, or whatever, like an interesting history fact or something like that. So I find that way more interesting.
So you're inspiring people to go and do things rather than go and buy things as well.
Absolutely, like that is more important. I don't mind sharing a product that I know is an absolutely great product. Let me just check the time. We're good. So I got to put my little girl up at just after 3.
That is okay. So, we only have a few questions left.
So yeah, I think showing people to get outside and go and look at this or see that or whatever is way more fulfilling than me saying this product was really, really good, unless it is genuinely a really good product. Like, because I love the bougie products. I love like lovely skincare and things like that, and I do share things like I worked with a fake tan brand recently called Vegan Tan, and their tan is obviously vegan. It's really, really good. I loved it and I was really pleased with it, and I was like, I'm happy to share that because I try this, and I have bought it since.
That makes you want to promote it though, doesn't it? Because then you know you're definitely going to add value to your followers' lives, because the product works so well for you that if they use it, it's going to be the same for them.
That's it. And like I said, like my followers have been around for so long. I would hate for them to spend money on something that I've said's good.
Yeah.
Rubbish. I would feel really tight if I did that. So it's like, I would rather them have like a more, like beauty hacks. That's way better.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you definitely don't want that where, as well, you could end up losing respect from some of your followers if you promote products that they then try and it's really bad. They'll probably be like, oh, actually, I don't trust this person. Do you know what I mean?
All of that work for however many years, has been for nothing, because now one product or one experience can ruin it. Sorry, nose is really bugged up again.
That's all right. Yeah, it's not worth it, is it? Definitely best
No.
to keep real, keep honest, and then even if it means maybe earning a bit less from it, better that way and having that nice little tight-knit community. Do you know what I mean? Rather than just having a load of people that aren't actually that engaged with you or...
Yeah, that's it. Like, I've been offered to be an influencer, and I could earn a full-time wage from it, but I'd rather not, because I know it will cost me my integrity. So
Yeah.
I'd rather have it always.
And you don't want to take the love out of it either, because if it's your, if you're relying on it for your full-time wage and it is your full-time job, then often it can feel a bit like a chore.
I have found that, definitely, like when I've been in between jobs and things like that, it's like you feel pressured to earn money from everything that you enjoy. It's like, if you enjoy something, you should earn money doing it. It's like,
yeah, that is the modern day approach, isn't it? Unfortunately, but, I mean, it can be good if you make it work, but if you're not doing it and you're happy, then why change? Do you know what I mean?
That's what I think. I think we don't need to have a side hustle every 5 minutes. And
exactly.
If you do, don't force it, and I think that makes it more enjoyable in the long run anyway.
100%. So last question then. What is your best piece of advice for those wanting to become or grow as an influencer within your niche?
So I would definitely advise people to be themselves always, because so many people would want to emulate somebody else. I've had it myself, where I've seen influencers come along and then they have copied what I'm doing, and it's like, for me, it's so flattering, but it's like, you are just as special and interesting, and like, it's definitely proved it for me on TikTok, when I'll be watching someone and they're a viral influencer on TikTok, and I'll watch them and I'm like, I do not find your videos funny.
No, yeah,
they found their people that do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like there is space for absolutely everybody. Somebody else being successful does not ever take away from your success, and you're only in competition with yourself.
And you don't have to please everyone either, do you? Like you just said about, they found their people. Find people that do like what you do, but if people don't, then that's fine. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to make content that pleases the entire world.
Yeah, like stop trying to people please altogether, because it breeds this horrible sort of culture. Like, I've had it where I wrote a post about prams, and it got taken completely out of context from like the media, and they all twisted my words and sort of made it sound like I was slagging mums off, which I absolutely wasn't in the post. And instead of writing a post like, I wasn't, I was like, if you're going to believe that, like, people will always find something to pull you up on.
Yeah.
And they will always be annoyed with you for some reason. So it's like, just let it go.
Yeah. If people think that you actually would do something like that or say something like that, then they're probably not the people that you want in your community anyway.
I literally do not care what anyone, especially anyone I don't know, think about me. Like, I couldn't give a shit. I literally don't care.
Exactly.
You impact my life zero.
Yeah.
So I don't care if that I swore in a post or that I've sworn in front of my child. I literally don't care.
Absolutely. If it's not hurting you, if it's not hurting anyone, then people shouldn't have a problem with it.
Absolutely, by how I feel about it. Just be yourself and do it completely unapologetically.
That is perfect way to end the episode, I suppose. Thank you very much again for coming on. That was great.
You're welcome. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's lovely to meet you as well.
You too. Well, kind of digitally.